Hey folks, I'm Nikki. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about Dead Gossip, which is the app that I've been building the last couple of months. A lot of you have followed along on the journey of what I've kind of been doing behind the scenes. We're getting close to our actual launch date, so I wanted to share a little bit more with everybody. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Nikki. I work in product by day, mostly in the mortgage industry. I've worked with a lot of teams building products, bringing things to life. And a couple months ago, I started asking myself, I wonder if I can bring my own product to life. And that's where Dead Gossip came in. I've been a fan of Genealogy for the last several years. One Christmas, we were all just sitting around as a family, and I asked, who on earth decided that Indiana was it for us? That this is where we stopped moving west. And nobody really knew. So I started my family tree on Ancestry and really dove into it over the next few years. One of the things that really surprised me as I used Ancestry and I started getting better at finding records and things on my own and finding some other resources was there's a lot out there available for free. Ancestry was great when I was a beginner and just kind of getting started, but I also made some mistakes, right? Which is I kind of went in and started just accepting all the hints, and next thing I know, I'm 1,000 ancestors in, and I got to go back and check everything out again, which a lot of that was on me. I didn't take the time to really investigate. I just jumped in and got to town. So lessons learned in that journey. And as I started thinking about, I really want to rebuild my tree, where do I want to rebuild it at? That's kind of what made me think of starting something like Dead Gossip. So today I'm going to show you just a couple of the features that we put in here. I really wanted it to feel like an individual experience. We kind of have all seen the same trees. We use a lot of different tools for different things. I'm sure anyone who's dug into their family history probably has a million tabs open and, all kinds of sites that they're utilizing to find those records. This was really a place where I could kind of keep my tree. I'm not sharing it with everyone. It's, where I'm doing my research, where I'm keeping track. And I wanted to give it a little personality. So today I'm going to walk you through two of the features that I created, which were the vibes and the tree canvas. So let's take a look. We'll go ahead and start with creating a new tree, and that's where we'll get to pick some of our details. So your vibe is how the stories are written from your records, and we'll go through the full flow so that you can kind of see what happens as you upload records. Each vibe brings a little bit of a different feeling. The case file is more true crime, investigator. Scandal sheet is more two ladies gossiping on the corner. Hearth side is more the grandma at your fireplace, right? So today, let's go ahead and work with the scandal sheet. And then the canvas theme is how your tree is going to show up. So it could show up more like an evidence board, more like society pages, or more like Heirloom. And we'll take a look at all three during this review. So we'll start with the evidence board. The canvas theme, you can change at any time. You can also change the tree vibe at any time. But when you change the tree vibe, it'll only impact your new stories. So once we get our tree created, it's going to take us to the dashboard for that tree. You can open your family tree canvas, and this is where your tree would be. So you can see we kind of gave it a cork board vibe. We wanted it to really feel like a real evidence board. To get started, you can upload a record or add a person. We're going to upload a record. And we're going to start with a census. Now this part is using AI, so we give it the ancestor's name so it doesn't pull too much information. And then we click upload and analyze. Now you can also choose your extraction model. One is 5 credits, one is 3 credits. Opus is really good. It gets like 98, 99%. Sonnet is still pretty good, still probably in the 80s. It does take a minute. What it's doing at this point is it's going through, it's extracting all the data, formulating relationships, figuring out what exactly the event is for each person in the record. And then it's going to provide it for us so that we can walk through and make sure that the information that it found was accurate. Okay, so we can zoom in, zoom out, scroll around on here. So here I found the details for Benjamin and his family. They're down here on our census. Benjamin, Sarah, David, Daniel, David, Sarah, Marion, and Elizabeth. So it did pull the date off of the census at the top there, the 16th day of June in the township, which was Marion in the county of Randolph. It did find our first person, Marion Hill. And then if we scrolled down, it found that Sarah was the spouse, Daniel, David, Sarah, Marion, and Elizabeth were the children. And then Sarah also lists all the children. All the children are also listed on here, but they only show the two parents. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be related when it comes out. That's just a lot if we list every sibling every time. And they all have the event of a residence. So once we've gone through, we make sure everything looks good and we feel like those are the right people, we can click continue. Now this is a new tree. We don't have anybody in it, but you will see what happens if it does find somebody that already has that name. We'll walk through that scenario. In this one, we're just going to add everybody to our tree. Now, right now, what it's doing is writing all of the stories, building out those relationships. We can kind of start to see the people on our true crime board. And they're put together with the push pins and red string. Now, you can see that behind Daniel, it looks like there's more stacked. That's because his siblings are collapsed. If you click on the edge, it'll pull them all out. And you can also select who you want to be the main person. At this point, we're going to pick Marion. As your tree gets bigger, every time you open it, it will open to whoever you have starred. So if you're working on somebody and you want to come back to that person, it's a good way to kind of direct you there every single time. Now, each of these people got a story on their timeline for that. And each of these stories was written in that scandal tone. So here's the one for Marion. Bunked with Benjamin Sr. and Sarah at Monroe Township, still the son, still under their roof at whatever age the census caught him. So each of his siblings are going to have a story like this. Clicked receipts to see what that came from. Each of the parents also has a story, and they also have the receipt. So I didn't have to create 7 people and upload this record to everyone and write everyone a certain story for their tree. Just uploading it through there, and it kind of did it for me. Now, if you don't like this, you can regenerate it by clicking the button. You can also edit it yourself. Maybe you don't like this story. Maybe you don't like a word. Maybe it messed up a word. It is AI. It will do that from time to time. You can just click it and edit it from here. Any edits that you make to, like, let's say that we change the event date to 1881, that should change for everybody in the event. So let's see. Hopefully it worked. Yep, 1881. So they're all kind of connected behind the scenes, so those events go together. Now let's go back to our tree, and we'll go ahead and make the next record. So we've got Marion here. I also have a census for Marion's family. All right, now we see here we have the one for Marion when he had his family together. So we've got Marion, the head of the family, his wife Belle, Nellie, Emily, Sarah, and Benjamin. A lot of similar names, different family. So if we go through, it did pick out most of this information correctly. Again, we're in. Now it got Bella's name wrong. All we have to do is go here, and it's actually Belle. Okay. We've seen more than 1 or 2 wrong names in our census days. And this one was just to blame on the AI itself. So now that we've went through, we've made sure everybody looks good, everybody has their residence date. Again, we'll save, we'll continue. Now here it recognized Marion because we know he already exists, right? And it's giving you the option. Do you want to take this? Do you want to take that? And here it's even calling out that we had 2 different birthplaces on 2 different censuses. So we'll keep this information here. Now on this one, it's finding Sarah R. Hill to be Sarah Hill, born in 1849. These are not the same people. This is actually Marion's daughter, named after his mother. So in this case, we're going to say these are different people. right? The next one, Benjamin, is also his son and also his dad's name. This happens a lot, right? So here we can go, these are different people again. So now it's saying the only person that's in this record is Mary and the rest are all new. Totally agree. We'll add to the tree from here. All right. Now we've got all of Marion's children here. Again, we have all of his siblings collapsed. You could also collapse at the top to just show the parents missing. And it does turn the pin color so that you know something is hiding behind there. All right, now we've got all of those stories. Let's go ahead and upload the marriage certificate for one of the Sarahs. This one is her marriage to Clarence. Upload and analyze. Now, if you don't put in an ancestor name, you will not be able to click upload and analyze. But if you're just uploading and you want to do this manually, then you don't have to put a name in. If you do upload manually, it brings you to the same screen so you can type in all the information while you're looking at the document itself. So from here, we can see it's Clarence to Ruth Hill, Clarence O. Shepherd, and it got her as Ruth Hall. Again, not a super big shock. I'll change that to an I. Listed them as spouses, gave them as the marriage, right? So previously, we only had the census. It also verified the marriage. This is now going to verify the marriage again. Now, this time it's saying these are both new people. That's because Ruth Hill goes by Sarah Ruth, right? So this is an existing person. And here again, we have multiple Sarah Ruth options. You can type in to get it down lower, but here is the one we're looking for, born in 1903. We'll keep that one and we'll click Add to Tree. All right. So now we've got Sarah married to Clarence, and you'll notice that that line is orange opposed to the family lines that are red. All right, now let's upload the birth record of their first son. And if you upload these in order, and we'll take a look at their stories here in a minute, it kind of takes in all the previous stories. You don't always have to use the full name. If it's only one person that's on that has the first name, you can just type in the first name. You could just type in the last name. Where it did get me, and what was interesting on the last name is when I put in a census and I just put in Shepherd, it found Clarence and his whole family and Clarence's brother Benjamin and Benjamin's whole family. So I was able to get everybody all in one swipe, which was unintended, but cool. All right, now here's the birth certificate for Mary and William Shepherd. His birthday, 6/8/2022. And all of the data around that. Male, both of his parents. Got Clarence as G instead of O, so we'll fix that. And Sarah Ruth Hill, that one looks good. Then we'll go ahead and click continue. So this one, again, Clarence, it found him, found the right one. Sarah, it found her, it found the wrong one again, right? It's trying to go 1849 again. So we can click her and then she falls down here. And then we can find her again, right, with the right year. There we go. And then we click Add to my tree. And let's go ahead and take a look at Sarah's record. So here we talk about Sarah living with her father and mother. And it is mentioning how girls used to stay home until marriage. It does throw in a little era-specific vibes every once in a while. Then came the marriage. Sarah picking a Saturday for forever, licensed on the 20th. 10 days later, they got married. And then here is the child born. Talks a little bit about the midwife that did come and what time he arrived in the morning. So that's kind of how it gets started. Now, let's add the next record. We'll add a couple more. Then she had Dorothy. All right, we go through it, picked up all the parents, picked up the right names. We'll just click continue. Had the right clearance. Probably gonna find the wrong Sarah. I'll have to look and find out why it picks that one. I feel like I ought to be able to make it pick the one that's married to Clarence. Okay. And then after Dorothy was born, we experienced our first death in the family of baby Marion. So let's process that one next. All right. So here we found his cause of death, marital status. He had no occupation at the time. Both of his parents are listed. Now, I do also want to mention, you have the ability here to uncheck parents, because in a lot of cases, the parent may already have been passed by the time the child, passed as well. And you don't really want to include a story. So you could say, I want to include this parent if they're not already on my tree, right? I want to add them. So I could uncheck this and it would add Clarence as a person if he wasn't already there. If he's already there and he's already deceased and I don't want a story on his timeline, I can just click include completely and then he won't get either a story or added. In this case, both parents were alive. We'll keep them both there. We'll go ahead and click continue. Again, it's going to have us look through the parents. And in this case, everyone was already present. We had a difference in birth date from the birth record. And we missed Sarah, which that's okay. Okay. Then we add 3. So we left off at the birth of Marion. Now here we're mentioning that Clarence fills out the forms. Sarah watches from the bed. Dorothy May arrives second. Marion had the honor 2 years back. So it's not just referencing that record. It's building a story of the life, right? It's taking into consideration the things that happened previously. All right, now let's go back and take a look at some of the other tree themes. Oh, one other thing to call out about the tree theme. So when you do get into the tree itself, some of the things will change. This is very evidence case based. So the case file, the usual suspects, reported alive, case closed, and even the fonts are a little bit different in different themes. So then if we switch over here, let's take a look at the society pages. So very much the same functionality as far as the expand goes and the collapse. Same with if you click the tape on the top or even if you click the tape on the bottom. This gives more of that scrapbook vibe was what I was going for. Pictures kind of taped to pages. When you open it up, it is more gossipy kind of centered. We've got the T, the inner circle, entered the chat and checked out. Spill, so a little bit of a different theme for this one. And then if we go back, we'll check out our last one, which is Heirloom. And it's meant to give that more ornate, classic vibe. So again, here we kind of have the pictures with the avatars. Of course, you can upload pictures and they'll replace the avatars. We'll look more at that in a different day. But here we have instead the chronicle, recorded, first light, last light, and the branch. So you can change them at any time if you're feeling like you just want to switch. It won't impact anything. And like I mentioned, we can also change our vibe here to, let's choose more of a Gen Z. And we'll go in here to Bella Hill. So this was previously written in the other. Once we regenerate, it should give us more of that Gen Z vibe that this one has. So that's the gist, right? That's what we're trying to get to is I want a timeline that doesn't just say Nikki was born on April 16th. Add a little bit of story to it. A lot of the people in this community, right, have talked about how important the history is, what was going on around us in the era, what was life really like. So my hope was to add a little bit of that to these records and it not just sound like some dry retelling of summary of each individual event. I wanted it to be a real story. Thanks for sticking around and watching. Make sure you subscribe, it's free, and I will keep posting these over the next couple weeks. Dead Gossip goes live on June 14th.